And welcome back to, I think we're on day 4. Not, technically, it's not day 4. It's like day 6 or 7. But we're talking about, obviously, more Kaldheim spoilers that came out. So let's just get into it. This one, I think these 2 or 3 actually came out yesterday after I had finished a video. Actually, these 3. Withered Crown, I think I talked about this one already. Yeah, I did. So Heralds unites the elves. 1 black, 1 green, 2 of any color for a saga. First one, mill 3 cards. You may put a elf or Tyvar card from your graveyard onto the battlefield. Okay, that's really good. And then next one, second one, put a +1 counter on each elf you control. It's not hard to get a lot of elves out. That's pretty good. And then finally, whenever an elf you control attacks this turn, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until the end of turn. So, yeah, for your elf deck, this thing is really freaking good. I mean, you're getting an elf back from your grave almost guaranteed by playing this card. You're pumping up every one of your elves by 1. And when you swing in, you're going to board wipe your opponent's side of the field. It's a great card for an elf deck. Otherwise, if you're not an elf deck, this card is completely useless. It's only good in an elf deck. That's the kicker there. Although you can at least get 3 cards milled off the top of your library, but there are better cards for that anyway. Like such. I believe it's Egon. Egon. This reminds me of a time you used to be a god of death. That would have worked if you hadn't stopped me. Egon, or it's either Egon or Egon. It's not O. It's because it's there's no E. I think it's Egon. It's not O. It's not Egon. It's Egon. So yeah, it's Egon. Egon, god of death. One of the Ghostbusters finally made it. Where's my thank you card? 1 black, 2 of any color for a 6/6 legendary creature rare god. Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, you exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, sacrifice Egon and draw a card. So, and then they explain that Egon ages backwards. His wisdom is soured by his youthful spite. And the backside of him is his artifact that represents him, Throne, a death throne of death. It offers all the warmth and comfort of the grave. At the beginning of your upkeep, you mill a card. You can pay 2 and 1 black to tap, exile a creature from your graveyard, and draw a card. So, I mean, obviously it's enabling Egon's ability to stay on the field. Look, a 6/6 Death Touch for 3, that's fantastic. Also, you don't have to have it doesn't have to be creatures or anything that you exile. It is anything that's in the grave. You are going to go through 2 cards per turn in your grave pretty quick. Unless you got a method of bringing them back into your graveyard, this guy is not staying around forever. He's not staying around indefinitely. But if you have, say, 4 or 5, maybe 6 cards in the grave, I don't think it's hard to keep this guy on the field for a little while. And a 6/6 for 3 with Death Touch, those are pretty jack stats. I can definitely see it being used for a little while. After that, and then after that, you do get a card. So he does enable card draw in his own right as well. You could probably you don't even have to play him really to attack with him. You can play him to have a giant blocker on the field for a turn, sack him the next turn, and draw an extra card. So he can still serve his purpose that way, unless you're capable of getting haste, in which case, hey, haste him out and swing for 6, and if you can't have him out on the field next turn, sack him, draw a card. There you go. Bound in Gold is 1 white, 2 of any color for an aura enchantment. Enchant permanent. Enchanted permanent can't attack, block, or crew vehicles, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. It's your standard arrest type effect, and it's perfectly serviceable. Like the artwork, though, like this demon is completely being just swallowed up and encased in molten gold. That's pretty cool. Feed the Serpent. Now, this is not a story spotlight card. I was wondering, okay, is that maybe what happens to Tybalt? He gets eaten by a Cosmos Serpent? But no, as far as I can tell, it's not it. It's 2 black, 2 of any color for an instant. Exile target creature or planeswalker. I mean, it's expensive for a kill spell, but it's not kill, it's exile. I don't know. I mean, that's great art too. Just that maw of the giant serpent swallowing you whole. Um, it's I think it's actually pretty solid pretty solid cards. Decent of exiling, not destroying. It's a big thing. There's a lot of exile I'm seeing actually in this set. So I don't know. I like it. I'd actually probably try to find a place for it. Definitely. Elder Fang Disciple is 1 black, 1 of any color for a 1/1 elf cleric. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card. It's 1/1 for 2 that discards a card for each opponent. If you want to discard cards from your opponent with a creature, go right ahead and do that. I have a couple cards that are in languages I don't speak, which I believe this is Chinese, or it might be Japanese. Either way, Raider's Carve, which is ship, obviously. Whenever this card attacks, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land, you may put it on the battlefield tapped. You can crew it for 3. Another thing to enable landfall, which we just got Zendikar Rising. So if you can enable landfall, great. Or at least get more land out there for your bigger things, absolutely. This one I like. I don't know if Giant Ox is his actual name, but this is one that Rosewater teased that they're using something with toughness they wouldn't normally use, going into a different space. Giant Ox is 0/6 for just 1 white, 1 of any color. You use Giant Ox's toughness to crew rather than its power. That is actually very important. Now, obviously, as a casual player, I build specific decks for specific purposes. One of the specific purposes I've designed decks for is a vehicle deck. And obviously, one of the biggest things you need for a vehicle deck is to crew vehicles. And sometimes you need multiple creatures to crew a vehicle, especially because the crew cost is so high. This guy kind of completely erases that need. This thing can crew, honestly, some of the biggest stuff that can be crewed. This guy can crew it. He can crew it without any problems. I like the card. I do. And it doesn't do anything on its own except block. It's got a huge butt. It's not going to die to most removal. Unless you're going to feed the ox to the serpent, in which case there you go. But I like it. I do like it. Code spell cleric is 1 white, 1 white for a 1/1 human cleric. Vigilance common. When it enters the battlefield, if it's the second spell you cast, put a +1 counter on it. So in essence, if it's the second spell you cast that turn, which frankly at 1 mana is not that hard to do, you'd be making a 2/2 with Vigilance. No other abilities. If it's early in the game, let's say it's turn 2 or turn 2 or 3, and you for some reason had held on to one of these, then you just play one, and then you play the other, and then you play the other. Then you can get it out on turn 2, and it could be relevant for a few turns. But most removal is going to take it out pretty quick. Mammoth Growth, kind of like Titanic Growth or Giant Growth, I believe this one's more Titanic Growth, is 1 green, 2 of any color for instant common. Target creature gets +4/+4 until the end turn, or you can play for its foretell cost, and you only pay Giant Growth cost, 1 green. Another one of those cards similar to Saw It Coming, where you're probably gonna, unless you need that 4/4 that turn, you're probably gonna hold off on this as a combat trick. Because 4/4 pump is no small feat. It is not a small swing. It's a big swing. It's one of those combat tricks that if they're not prepared for it, especially because if they forget about your foretell stuff, that's gonna hurt when they hit. That's gonna hurt a lot. So that's actually a pretty good common. We have Burn Ruin Demon. And this one's apparently it's been more leaked than it has been actual spoiled, because you can tell by the light there. But Burn Ruin Demon is a 6/6 mythic rare demon for 2 black, 2 of any color. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for exactly 2 cards not named Burning Ruin Demon that have different names. If you do reveal these cards, opponent chooses one, you get the one in your hand, and the other goes back into the library. Hey, look, it's basically I got the cards right here. Hold on. If I'm not mistaken, it is basically, what is the name of that demon? I think it's right here. Nope, not this one. It is Ruin Scar Demon. That's it. Enters the battlefield, search your library for a card put into your hand and shuffle your library. In fact, it's a much better version of the card because it's giving you options. You get to choose what you want to get, and then they got to choose from it. So you can get two of your best things. You're getting one of your best things guaranteed, and the other one's just going back in the deck anyway. It's also cheaper than Ruin Scarred by 1 mana, so it is. Hence, I think a little play on the name. It's now Burning Ruin, not Ruin Scar. No, it's a good. I mean, it's a 6/6 flyer for 6 too, so that's usable definitely. It's a good card, at least I think it is. Demonic Lightning is 1 red, 2 of any color for an instant, deals 4 damage to target creature or player. Oh, and it's got Foretell. Foretell for 1 red. So actually that's pretty useful. That makes it a better version of I think it's like Burning Slash or something like that. I have the card. Yeah, I mean, again, one of those cards that unless you need that 4 damage right away, you're going to probably play it for its Foretell, definitely. That will be a Foretell user. Crush the Weak is 1 red, 2 of any color for a sorcery. Uncommon. When a Crush the Weak deals 2 damage, it deals 2 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt this damage this way it would die, exile it instead, and then again Foretell. This is one where it's less. It doesn't matter as much if you foretell it or not. If you foretell it, it's a cheaper Pyroclasm. If not, it's like any other of these cards that deal 2 damage across the board. So it's about as good as any of those. If you can save for the foretell, great. But then again, if you're waiting to use the foretell on it, the creatures you're dealing with at that point, unless it's like little weenie creatures, they're going to be too big to deal with. Run Amok is 1 red, 1 of any color for an instant common. Target attacking creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until the end of turn. It's fine. It's a good combat trick. +3/+3 for 2 is fine. Instant speed, trample, good. It's fine. Starnhelm Unleashed. This is a story spotlight, so the Valkyries come to play. 2 white, 2 of any color for a sorcery. Mythic. Create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. If the spell was foretold, create X of these tokens instead. I'm guessing that's what the X is for, because the foretell cost is 1 white to double X. It's interesting because you're essentially either playing 4 to get a 4/4 angel with vigilance and flying, which is perfectly serviceable, or you're just sitting on this card and waiting. You're going to wait out as long as you can until you feel like you have to. I'd say because it's double X means that whatever even number it is, you're getting half that amount in angels. I'd say to make this worth it, you'd need at least 6 extra mana add on to the white, so 7 mana in total to get at least 3 angels. Otherwise, you're honestly probably better off just using it from your hand. But it's a good card. I'm not going to argue that. Definitely. Dual Strike is 2 red for an instant, common or uncommon. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell, convert a mana cost 4 or less this turn. Copy that spell. You may choose a new target for that copy and foretell it for 1 red. I mean, it's how often have we seen these spells? I mean, let me go back to my binder real quick here. How many of these copy spells have we seen in the past? I think like Reverberate, which is copy target instant or sorcery. You may choose a new target for said copy. Increasing Vengeance, same as before. If it was flashback, you double it. I think though what this does have over some of those cards is the whole I can pay it for 1 essentially. I can just wait it out and pay it for 1. That I do think gives this one a bit of a leg up. But ultimately, it is just another one of those, it's not that great, but it's okay spells for what it is. Frostpire Arcanus, or Arcanus, sorry. 1 blue, 4 of any color for a 2/5 giant wizard. Uncommon. Spells cost 1 less to cast if you control a giant or wizard spell. Oh, excuse me. This got to cast 1 less to cast if you control a giant or wizard spell. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an instant or sorcery card with the same name as a card in your graveyard. Reveal it and put it into your hand and then shuffle your library. So basically, you need repeated copies of a certain instant or sorcery card. To get the full benefit, you need a giant or wizard on the field. You're easier having a wizard on the field, quite frankly. Which means This is a 2/5 for 4 at best that just gets you a repeated copy of something. No, that's not a good card. I get what they're going for, but no, not a good card. At least not in my opinion. It's not a good card. Let's see here. We have Basalt. I always like to call it Bath Salt Ravager. I'm gonna eat your face. 1 red, 3 of any color, 3/4/2 giant uncommon wizard. When it enters the battlefield, deals X damage to any target, where X is the greatest number of creatures you control that have a creature type in common. I mean, A, you have to control a lot of creatures, and B, they all have to be the same type. That being said, I mean, that alone means it'll do at least 1 damage to something. So realistically, you might get like 2 or 3 damage off in someone's face. This isn't like with elves where you can get massive amount of tokens out. It's a giant wizard. Realistically, like I said, 2 or 3 at most. But I mean, there's scenarios where I could see it being more than that, certainly. Weathered Ruinstone is 2 of any color for an uncommon artifact. Non-land permanents cards in graveyards and libraries can't enter the battlefield. And players can't cast spells from their graveyard or libraries. Okay. It'll prevent... Well, it's not going to prevent Foretell from happening. It will prevent a lot of recursion from happening. Because there are... prevent, for example, Frostbite Anarchist, I think. It'll prevent a lot of guys that can come back from the grave from coming back from the grave. So if that's a big thing going on, there you go. All these are in Spanish, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. They're in a different language, so take that. Bear with me on this. We have one that is a Falcon. Now, the Falcon, they don't have an official name on it right now. First of all, the Falcon does look, it's a nice looking card. But second off, it's a 1 white, 1 blue, 1 of any color Falcon flying. I think it's a snow creature too. You can pay 1 snow to tap. Yeah, it's a snow creature. Draw a card and discard a card. It's one of those. It's not a looter. It's a oh god, what's it called? Looting. I believe is discard then draw, not draw discard. It's whatever the other one is. But yeah, that. It's all right. If you don't like anything in your hand, it gives you at least a chance to get something else. Never been a big fan of those myself. Then we have Terrifying Rider. Black, common, 1 black, 5 of any color, so 6 mana for 3/7, which is an interesting number. I believe guessing it's a Spirit Knight or it's a Zombie Knight, one of the two. But it has pay 1 black and 1 of any color to tap this card. Exile a creature from your graveyard, from your graveyard, and target opponent loses 3 life. It's a bit of a ticking clock, and honestly, 3/7, I'm not going to be tapping a 3/7 very often unless I can untap it immediately. I'm going to be using it for its butt more than anything else. The ability isn't bad, it's just I don't think the proportions work out well for it. I believe this is Smashing Success. Smashing 1 red, 3 of any color, just for an instant. Destroy target artifact or land. If an artifact is destroyed this way, create a treasure token. One of the better land destruction cards because it actually gives you something back. It gives you more mana. It's also instant speed, which isn't bad. But most of these cards turn out not to be very good to begin with. So, take that for what it's worth. We have Shepherd of the Cosmos. Ooh. She be a angel, some type of angel. I'm guessing a angel cleric. I don't know what Guerrero is. But yeah, that's what she is. 2 white, 4 of any color for a 3/3 flying angel. Obviously, when it enters the battlefield, return target permanent card will convert a mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Obviously, the Weathered Ruinstone would prevent that. And the unwanted sorry, yeah, I'm just seeing this ad for like the unwanted room is like I don't really care about this. And obviously, it has a foretell cost of 2 less, which is actually not bad. It's all right. Again, a little pricey for me, but I could see it working. Finally, Hellish Pet is black creature type. I'm guessing it says Diablo. I'm guessing this might actually be a demon rat. That's what my guess is, because it looks like a rat. It looks like some type of rat. But it's a Diablo. So I think it's a rat. Hellish Pet is a 2/2, 1 black, 2 of any color. Whenever you catch your second spell each turn, put a +1 counter on Hellish Pet and it gains flying until the end of turn. Assuming this is a rat, which I'm thinking it is, that's not a bad rat. Again, it's all going to depend on if you can get a second spell cast during the turn, which, thanks to Foretell, it's possible. Not likely, but possible. Realistically, you might get to 3 or 4 before someone legitimately takes it out. But yeah, ultimately, that's all the cards for today. Definitely some good ones. We're now starting to get into the lesser cards of the set a little bit. The cards that just I don't really care about that much. But still, there is some good things to be seen here. And I can't wait for the rest of the set. Again, I can't wait to actually go and pick up this set when it finally comes out. Until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Superior, Magic, What If. Anything you do on the channel, put that in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want notifications. We'll see you next time. And I got to pre-record my What If for tomorrow. So later, folks.